welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live high above the keep in the hot air balloon. As always, my co-host and partner in crime, Neindorf. How you doing, Neindorf?
Having a good day. It's a little balmy here, but I'm ready to talk some DFK. It's been a while again.
Very balmy here. We're seeing a bit of a heat wave. So, first things first, we got a question of the day, and then we'll get into our normal chit chat and discussions while we're letting our YouTubers out there catching up with us live answer a question of the day. So, Neindorf, what's the question of the day?
In true form with these events, I'd like to know how many boars do you think you're gonna have to get killed by your squad in order to achieve or acquire the amulet of 1,000 truths?
I've calculated this out. It's 65,325,000. Of course, we are referencing the magical South Park episode of World of Warcraft, where there is someone who's just killing people, and they have to level up to defeat him. And there's the amazing soundtrack playing in the background, the "Live to Win." I
Yes.
definitely posted this in our Discord chat recently.
Oh, that's right.
Um, I think this episode came out when we were in college, and it hit a
No
little close
doubt.
to home because we were both playing World of Warcraft at the time. Not seriously, we were never any good at it, but it was fantastic. And they have the Sword of 1,000 Truths on a USB drive, right?
The scene where isn't it Randy holds it above his head like he's actually lifting the sword?
Yes,
That's
that
the
was,
best part.
yeah, that's
Uh,
Zelf saying, make love, not Warcraft. Um, Yeah, so I put this on a poll, and I didn't realize as I started typing out the question that the options for YouTube polls were yes, no, and then fill in the blank. So I wrote orange, and we've had 100% of our answers filled in at orange so far. So that is fantastic.
uh, it's a I don't know, it's a fun throwback to some good old fashioned TV we watched back in college. But I mean, I think the question's kind of interesting though, right? Like,
Yeah,
how many times are you gonna have to play this to get reasonable rewards? I mean, that's really what the question is. What do you think?
right. It depends on what they're going to give out for experience. I think they're going to be a little more generous. I was listening to Bogside last night, and they mentioned like they gotta at least have the minimum experience be that of the maximum of what you're getting in Training Quest right now. I totally agree. I think it's going to be a fair amount. I think it's going to feel good. I think in order for us to have a healthy meta, we need to start getting a good number of heroes up to level 20. I mean, I think that's where the first meta is going to have its initial heyday. We've talked a lot about our theories. I think they're going to hold the bar at 20 for a while, and then that's where you'll do competitive play. Once they release the next 10 levels, they're going to give us something like 6 months to upgrade, get to 30, and then they'll hold the next series of competitive play. I think there's going to be some long gaps in between there. But even as we've seen, like getting to level, I mean, what's the highest natural level that we have right now? It's like 15, 16, right?
I've got a couple at 16, so yeah, I think that's it. Not even close to 17 yet.
Yeah. So I would expect this to give, I hope, 2x the best experience right now. And then if you have
Yeah,
an
I think that makes
experience
sense.
boosting pet on there, and experience boosting rewards, I think that'll add to it.
So I mean, that's a good point from an experience standpoint. We've talked a lot, between ourselves offline on the item problem, right? So the question really too is, I mean, are we going to create another set of items that we're accumulating? Are we pushing the problem, or do you think this is actually helping to solve the problem?
Well, and I like this. It's where we wanted to go. So let's jump to this right now. I think it's solving a major problem that we have right now with which is the gold glut. And actually, like We actually developed in the back end. You did an entire like gold raffling system to try to come up with some ideas on how to burn this. You'd been tracking gold for a while now, and we were about to propose like some community slash dev ideas on how we could do this, and then the Boar solution popped in place. So I would expect that gold's getting burned, which is great for the ecosystem. I think like, so the rewards are. Let me bring this up on screen here. I'm bringing up the Medium article, the Mad Boar. Um, the rewards are equipable items, right? And
Yep.
unknown prizes can be earned, and all rewards are based on your final attempt. These rewards include things that you're familiar with: Gaia's Tears, Moksha Runes, and a new item which cannot be seen and does not reflect light, the Void Shards, and experience. So I don't think it's going to create a problem for Gaia's Tears or Moksha Runes. Moksha runes are getting hit hard with the counter event that they have right now. And gold is, I think this will help to put gold in its place. So yeah, walk me through some of your gold analysis, and then tell me, I suppose, if you're worried about the creation of Gaia's Tears or Moksha Runes.
Yeah, so basically the what's going on with gold is effectively as item prices have continued to decline, we see basically all other items convert to gold at the vendor as the most profitable place to sell items. So effectively, we have driven down the price of the other items so much that we're all minting gold. Every quest has become gold mining, whether you really believe it or not, because most of these items are selling for gold at the vendor. So looking at it, I was tracking the mint and burn of gold for a few days. Not a huge sample set, but what it seemed like is there was about 4,000 gold being minted every minute. And so basically by the end of the year, we would have had easily, probably by somewhere between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we'd have had up to 3 billion gold minted in total
That's a
supply.
staggering number.
We're at 2.2 now. So it's like we would get to 3 by holiday season at the current rates. So yeah, and that's kind of like you said, we were literally building a system where we could like do some sort of gold burning that the community could, help us participate in, because it's a huge problem. But yeah, 1,000 gold burned per, assuming it's burned, of course, per boar hunt seems like a great start. So that means you basically have to, if 4 people played boar hunts a minute, you could stem that and, basically stop the bleeding, if you will. I think 4 a minute should easily be achievable. I would think.
I hope so, and I feel like the other items that you're creating, like I said, runes, we kind of have a counter system with the, the leveling up project going on for the amulet airdrop, and tiers they've been a hot commodity for a while, and so I think they're kind of using this as almost like a countermeasure to balance tiers to bring the price back down. Like, you don't see people boosting as much or buying eggs as much because of the tier price. So I think tier price coming down a little bit might be healthy for the ecosystem. And so they don't have to make it be like the rewards where you're getting like a gajillion tiers every time you're fighting the Mad Boar. So
Right.
I'm really excited.
So I had seen someone post something. It was basically a Hubert comment from the main Discord, and he was suggesting that this is going to allow them to test out their system for equipment that has variety. Did you see that by chance?
I did not see that. I would,
And
yeah, that's fascinating. Tell me.
and so I'm curious to see with what you have highlighted. The rewards here. I
Yeah.
don't see anything about items necessarily.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't see anything about items here, but there was items. I know the Bogside guys were talking about equipable items, and I think I saw something in chat that you might start out with your items, your weapons, and I think it's like the speculation of what your outfit. Okay, right here. Additionally, strengthen your heroes. See, I didn't. I just if I read, it would solve many problems
Yeah.
in my life. There are 5 unique equipable items that can be discovered from the Mad Boar hunt. Outfit your heroes with gear and supplies to prepare your legion. So that's sexy.
It's awesome. And what I really hope too is I hope that they not only are they discoverable, but I hope they take damage and they wear and tear. And we don't have crafting yet, so I don't believe there would be any sort of system to repair said items, if that's even possible. I don't know. But this is the sort of stuff I like to see because
Yeah,
it's you're creating something that I hope only is disposed and
yeah,
it doesn't accumulate. So
yeah.
that right there is super exciting.
The game is getting deep, and I feel like I said this in chat that I feel like we made it through. I hope. So I'm trying not to jinx us here, but I feel like we made it through our last trial, where we went through this whale dumping how many millions of dollars of jewel that they were holding on to. We saw the price get
Enough.
challenged, and it hit like 7.5 cents. And that resistance, the surge that the community put in to the resistance of that price, I mean, that was exciting. Like that was like, I don't know, like that gives me kind of goosebumps almost, like that we are rallied around this project in that way. And it's almost like, I don't know, like it's kind of crazy. If you would have asked us a month ago, like, would you like to buy some jewel for 7.5 cents? Or like if you were to ask us like 4 months from now, like, would you like to buy some jewel for 7.5 cents? We'd all undeniably be like, hell's yeah, like let's go get it. Um, and so it was kind of cool. I grabbed a little bit. I was kind of watching the price coming down as it started, down from 11 cents. And I actually put some money into USDC then and there because it takes a little to ramp in. And then I pulled the trigger when the night it hit 7.5 cents. So how about you? Did you snag any?
Only honestly, only like a couple $100 worth because what happened was I had not been, I hadn't needed to bring cash in for a while, and I didn't realize that Binance had closed out their, uh, basically that you could deposit and use cash like immediately. So I was counting on that being there, and then I went that night at like 10 o'clock, and I was like, oh, that's gone. Well, I guess I'll hopefully catch the next dip because it closed shortly.
Yeah, it was only there that 7.5 for, it was less than a day.
Yep.
Um, all right, let's go to Dev Dive. We've been hard at work. We've opened up alpha testing, and I've been really encouraged by some of the feedback we have. So, up on stream right now, I have the combat demo, and I'm looking at 3 of my heroes, and I'm facing off against a red blub and a red scarecrow. Kind of walk me through what am I looking at here with the user interface, and for those who haven't caught up on our streams talking about the game so far, describe how our brute calculated reckless combat system works.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, it is basically a weighted version of rock, paper, scissors, and the color coding is basically at the bottom. You're showing it's meant to kind of highlight the stats that provide that weighting, um, and the color coding is obviously brute is red. I think it's fairly obvious. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Calculated is blue and reckless is green. So I think what we're showing here is information about what the monsters, in this case blubs and scarecrows, are likely to choose based on the hero backing that backs a monster. So in this game, every enemy is backed by a hero ID, that's out. It's a real hero out in the world somewhere.
I'd
Um,
love that. And
yeah,
how do
and
you
so that
choose
that
the heroes based on the heroes coming to fight?
yeah, so there's an algorithm that we wrote that basically it looks at the level spread of the heroes that you select, and then it does a little bit of math on the hero spread. So like if you pick all level 10 heroes, you're likely to see all level 10 monsters. But if you pick a level 1 and a level 20, it could get kind of wild. So that's kind of some of the stuff that we'll have to play with probably and tweak as we go along.
Hmm.
But and the other part too is those we try to take levels of monsters that are equal. So if you have a level 1, a level 10, and a level 20, it should be roughly one third easy, medium, and hard guys.
Uh-huh.
But the fun part is we randomly distribute the monsters. So you could get really lucky and get a level 1 boss at the end.
I
Or you
see.
could get really unlucky and get a level 20 boss at the end. So
That's
there's
clever.
some fun features that we've got thrown in there like that. That again, we'll have to tune it, but I think it'll be a lot of fun to see how people
Yeah.
react to those monster bosses.
Yeah, so if people are interested in trying out the combat system or playing the combat system, we also have some really exciting alpha um, that we were actually conversing with Bolin here tonight. This is hot off the press. We are going to get access to the raffle ticket system. And so in the combat demo, we're going to open this up to our alpha testers first. We're leaving this up as a pretty close group. I think we're willing to take somewhere between 5 and 10 more alpha testers. So if you want a chance to earn some raffle tickets, we're going to be giving away some hot rewards. The We're going to try to boost, if we can, the raffle ticket giveaway rate for our alpha testers. I don't know. We need to make sure we're playing by DFK's rules. Um, and that's just to say thank you for giving us feedback on what we could change, what we could do better. And you've always done this with the site, which I love, which is, base it around the feedback that we're getting from the community. And we want to treat this game no differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want people to have fun. And you know, it we're hopeful that the raffle tickets give some motivation to play, and especially when we get to like duels off season, we all really missed Fight Club. I'll say that.
Ha. Yes, we certainly have. Now, I apologize. My screen is, OBS is moving my screen around. So,
Yeah, it's a little crunch. I think you get. I hope we'll clean it up in the
yeah,
future. We can
I
get a better
apologize. I
view,
wasn't
but
paying attention. I was just chit-chatting away with you. Um, I'll just have to kind of move it here manually and then get it back and play for.
yeah. So while you're doing that, basically the buttons on the side that you'll see hopefully once we readjust, it's basically your three selections. You pick your hero that you want to attack. You pick the target, the NPC target, and then you pick your style that you would like to attack with. Um, so that's kind of the first step. And then when you submit that answer, basically then the server takes your data and it runs the game loop, calculates, it does the random action that the monster happens to choose, again based on his weighted average of options. Uh, and then it determines, if it's a brute versus calculate, it determines the result, modifies HP, all that above, and then sends it back.
Yeah.
And then that's the first, I would say, part of a turn. Do you maybe want to show that and then talk through like how there's
Yeah, I'll talk through kind
different
of
rounds?
my thought process too, and try to zoom in here a little bit, and hopefully this
This
is
is looking a
showing
lot
up.
better.
Yeah, hopefully this is showing up better. So first things first, I am going to select. I get to choose which hero I want to attack with, um, and I'm going to look at the enemies here and try to pick out like what is their potential weakness, and so they are red. And so they are brute force, which means calculated will do strong attacks against them. And so I want to pick out like maybe one of my heroes that has a strong calculated attack and use that against one of them. And so I'm gonna go ahead and select my second hero that has a strong calculated attack, and I'm going to select that and submit. I attack the red blob, I actually lose. And so it's not guaranteed that they will use their strongest attack. And so because I used calculated, that meant that they must have used reckless, which is um, pretty strong. And so it did 34 damage to me, which that's sad day. All right, so next I'm picking my next hero that's going to attack, and I'm going to try to pick on the red blob again. And so, oh no, I can't do that. So I'm going to try to go with my calculated strategy again. And I'm going to go with my third hero. Go with calculated. Do that one more time. I win. I deal 30 damage to the scarecrow, and he now has 0 HP. So that's pretty good. My round is complete.
Yep,
So,
he's
kind of,
ghosted.
yeah. So, walk us through a little bit. Like, I made my decision based on his strength, and eventually we're gonna open this up for PvP, and I think then it gets like really mind gamey and interesting. But walk me through. This blub. He has the strongest version of his brute attack. We wouldn't be expecting him to do. I mean, his reckless is still pretty good. Um, but
Right.
how have we written the algorithm in the background?
So right now, it is effectively looking at the back again, the stats of the hero that is underneath the monster, and it is adding up the sum of the stats that feed into these brute, calculated, and reckless abilities, uh, and it's basically doing a weighted average of selecting which one. Right now, it's random. We definitely have ideas in the future where mini bosses or bosses might actually have patterns of their selection.
Mm-hmm.
So if again, you got to pay attention, or if in the story mode leading up to the boss, there's little secrets or hints that you can uncover that'll help you maybe uncover and learn those patterns. And so then you can increase your odds significantly if you've got a hint that's like, oh, this boss doesn't is really dumb, and therefore maybe that's trying to tell you that he's never going to choose calculated. And then
Yeah.
the rounds basically too, as you're clicking through, um, the rounds are effectively when one side or the other runs out of players, basically a round is complete. And that's kind of the fairest way we could think of it. And there probably will be a situation in the future where we want to say, hey, if if you have three heroes and there's only two enemies, we're probably going to have those enemies be more stronger, if you will, uh, to help battle, the three v two, right? But that might mean then that you need to select two of your heroes that you want to attack, and your third hero might have the option of resting and recovering some HP, um, kind of as a buy that round. So there's more that we'll add to this over time, but I think it's got some potential here.
I love where it's going, and even as I'm going through this simple strategy of this round, I'm left with my last hero, and I'm like wondering, like, okay, did I make my first two selections against the enemies? Like I was kind of like thinking through, like, oh, I want to fight with hero one, hero two, then hero three, but really I can choose which hero I want to go with first, and I should have maximized my opportunity for selecting the hero with the biggest advantage over the monster with the most advantage. And so
Right.
it ends up becoming a fairly complicated mind game. And so here I'm making my last selection of my third hero, my archer here, and my brute and my reckless are both very strong. And I look at his opportunities, and his reckless is really strong, which means use calculated, or his brute is really strong, which would mean, um, or excuse me, use calculated to defend the brute, and use or to attack against the brute, and use calculated to attack against the reckless. So, right, or did I
Yeah.
misspeak?
Well, yeah, and another thing to keep in mind that yeah, we'll release the facts, so that's all. We all keep all that straight. It is
Yeah.
kind of tricky to get the hang of it, but um, another thing to keep in mind too is if you need to look at those numbers because those numbers are the damage that they will do
Yep.
if they win. So
Mm-hmm.
if you got a hero that's got 30 health left, and you see that all of his moves are above 30, maybe you don't want to pick that hero because if you lose, he's guaranteed dead. And
Oh, he smashed me
conversely, if
hard.
you want to attack a blub that's got 40 health left, I don't know, maybe if you want to choose an attack that has 41 damage so that you can knock him out. So there's a lot of things like that that you got to keep in mind as well. Because you want to keep that turn count down. That's kind of the strategy here. A lot of what we're going to determine success and failure for raffle tickets and what your score is for maybe a leaderboard system is A, how many turns it takes you, and B, what heroes survive and which ones died. So turn count will be important in the future.
Yeah, I'm fighting the boss blobs now, and being on stream, I'm just a little nervous. So I don't know. I don't know if I can finish this off. So yeah, I mean, as you can see here, we've already like built a full system with turns and counters, and we're trying to make this fun, a fun way. Yes, it is a new system with the rock paper scissors, and already you heard us uh, trip up a little bit on it. But we did design this to be. We hope that once you play this, like time in and time out, it becomes an easy to learn, fast to play system. We're really trying to have something that complements what DFK is building, because that is in depth. It's complicated. The builds that you create for DFK are, you're going to pour a lot of money, time, and energy into this. We want you to be able to select your three best heroes, and then within each battle selection, try to choose what optimizes those three heroes each time that you want to play. Now, there is something to wanting to pick three heroes that pair well with each other, but that's where, when we boil it down to really three options, we're hoping this becomes pretty digestible, easy to learn, difficult to master. That kind of the Othello approach.
Yeah, I agree. And we, when we kind of took a step back and thought about creating a game, we realized that there are so many, active and passive abilities and skills, these codexes that we're all going to have to learn. We did not want to further complicate that by adding our own skills or trying to replicate all of that. So that's kind of where this system was born from, was simplicity, a game that everybody's played, and it's rock, paper, scissors. It seems so simple. But again, I think, like you said, knowing these weighted averages and knowing that there's randomness and or patterns at play, and you need to pay attention to find them, is kind of where the depth comes. And then, yeah, for player versus player, which we're working on, uh, that's where it's going to be. It's cat and mouse. We hope we can capture the cat and mouse feel that we had from Fight Club
Yeah,
without having to relearn all these new skills that, like, because that's kind of how Fight Club had done it.
yeah,
But they kind of predated the codexes too, so I think it was okay back then.
yeah, and it was fun. I love Fight Club. And if you are still interested in playing that, I know Joseph has ported, and I know I'm kind of like just pitching someone else's system, but Joseph has ported his entire system over to Alchemy, Battle of the Gods. Hit any of us up on Discord, and we'd be happy to send you his way. Um, they have like a full Discord game that they're building. I believe they got launched on a chain too. Um, and so that's good for them. We're really happy for them and what they're trying to build. And we wanted to ended up trying to take what we loved about Fight Club with the DFK community and try to do something that is different, and still leverages these assets that we've all fallen in love with.
Absolutely, yeah, you got it. And we're hoping, you can see here the monsters are basically pet images, and they are animated like they are in the game. We're hoping to, in the future, probably try to invest a little time and make the heroes kind of some of the animations that you see in game as well, give them a more of a sense of life.
I love that. I love that. All right,
I got a little
so
bit of learning to do yet. We'll have to cover that on a future dev dive.
the last item we had on our list to talk about was the level up event. Um, so that was in the Medium article, and we are kind of going through some different strategies of what we want to do. But the level up event is around getting your heroes leveled up, and as you level up, you get raffle tickets that work towards earning more amulets that you're gonna get. Kind of walk us through what your strategy is so far.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, the simple one for me was, yeah, I'll play the game. If moksas are going to be coming out from boar hunting soon, then I mean, they're valuable right now, but there will be more of them, so they'll probably won't be as valuable in the future. But everybody loves to level up heroes, myself included. And I have been sitting on a few. I started to quote unquote cap them, and I didn't want to level them past it. So phase one was basically just to get those guys caught back up, because now there's a reason. Um, phase two is a little bit more interesting, and it's kind of like how do we, if we want to, do you want to go deep and try to play for these for a win here? Then we had some kind of interesting ideas that we came up with today. I'm sure other people are doing it too, but maybe uh, I'll let you jump on that one.
Yeah, so looking at I just brought this up on screen. You get entries for moving to that level, and then you get a multiplier for hitting, levels 10 to 15, levels 16 to 18, 19 to 20. I'm not hitting anything from 19 to 20, so count me out there. I'm trying to go for the uh, kind of the value play, and I haven't done like the full mathematical analysis on this, but what I looked at is I swept the tavern today for heroes between level 10 and like 12. Actually, no, heroes level 9 to 12, and those heroes were somewhere between 90 and 150 crystal. And on the floor, the heroes that you can look at, you can also see what heroes are already maxed out on experience, and the people selling them just haven't leveled them up. And so I went out and grabbed only heroes that are about to level up because I'm lazy and I don't want to do hard work, i.e., I don't want to pay for stamp pots. And so if you think about it, like if you pay like 5 crystal more and that hero is about to level up, like that's worth the stamp pot right there, compared to a hero that has no experience. And so I grabbed those heroes, and my plan is ideally you're getting like level 9 heroes because then you get the multiplier twice. You get 2 heroes that are level 9 that are already have their experience maxed out. You level them each up once, and then you throw them both and they hit level 10. Then you throw them both in the pit, and then you level up that hero 10 times, and you gain all the raffle tickets for that grouping of heroes. Have to credit our community on Discord that came up with this entirely degen strategy. I talked to Bolon in general chat just to make sure that pitting these heroes is a legit strategy, and it is. And so you get all the raffle tickets for the heroes that you initially level up, and then for the dark summoned hero, the parents that are thrown into the pit, those raffle ticket entries don't go away. So I'm really excited about this. It feels a little dirty, but yeah, really excited. Yeah, Ben Forrest from our chat has been asking Poland about this too. So super excited. And you bought some heroes on the floor today. I bought way too many on the floor. I use that in quotation marks.
Yeah. I think I picked up 8 and ran 4 pairs up to somewhere between levels 9 and 11 after dark summoning them. And I was like, I used that opportunity to try some fun things, right? Like I had an uncommon knight popped out, and I'm like, I'm randomly going to use a Vigor Stone on him, and he ended up getting, I think might have been green on Vigor as well, on Vitality, sorry. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to boost his Vitality every level. So I ended up getting him to level 11, and he's sitting at 39 Vitality and 763 HP. So he did really well. So like all of a sudden, this guy just randomly did for level ups. He's now Vit crystal farming for me in training questing because he's got a good jump, and since he's dark summoned, he has 0 experience fishing, foraging, or anything.
Yeah,
Basically worthless in those. So
yeah.
I was like, that's the perfect spot for him.
It's just fun. And as Mellow Green Giant said, that's great. Burn more heroes! Exclamation point. I'm like,
Exactly.
yes, we will play into these incentives. I think they very cleverly structured this to, they solve the gold glut with one initiative, and they are putting another initiative into place to work on the hero glut. I hope. So yeah, I mean, in some ways, go try our strategy. Because rising tide raises all ships for sure. If we burn more heroes, the heroes that we have left over will become dramatically more valuable. We do, it took, it probably took me some time to get there, but I mean, we do have a hero glut problem. And I hope that travel makes it so it forces your hero outside of the range of the portal. And I think that could eventually start to take our hero population and put it into check a little more, which would then help the price of materials and so on and so forth. Um, yeah, that's it kind of my long-winded soapbox spiel, but yeah, that's the thing we're hoping. So go buy heroes, burn them, go get amulets. They're finally here. Like the amulets are finally here. This is super.
Yeah, and I see Mellow Green Giant posting on YouTube that it could pump the price of Shavas. I totally agree because I think I burned like almost two-thirds of my Shavas in the one wallet I was using doing this strategy with four pairs.
Yeah,
So yeah, you I totally agree that Shavas is probably one of the next things to keep an eye on, which
yeah,
is great also because they had kind of become marginal in price, almost worthless as well.
right, right.
So I really hope the team thought all this through. I actually think they probably did. But I would give them credit. Their events usually are very purposeful and do have a very pinpoint effect that is what they're looking for. Um, I was a little disappointed that no one can die on the boar hunt. You know me. I want more heroes to die permanently. Like this is an event, so people will stop burning after the event. But at least it gives us a little bit of slack here.
Yeah. Um, and with that, we have some ideas in the hopper. They're in the oven, I guess you could call it.
Yep.
Let us know if you would be interested in us trying to take what we're building. So we have a pure combat mode, which I was just demonstrating, which is just going to fight blobs. And like similar to that, it'll be a mode where you're kind of navigating a dungeon, which will be more focused on all the battles you have to do instead of like the rooms you're in. But we've been thinking about building a mode where you actually have to risk the life of one of the three of your heroes. Um, Tell us what we would love to see is, or love to hear back. And this is feedback we'd like to give to the DFK team. Like, what incentives would you need to see in order to risk a life of a hero? Because I think we can all agree that there is a hero glut problem now, and you have to, we already have something that you can earn with burning a hero in dark summoning, which is a bit of a difficult value to put a number to, but burning a hero, what is that value worth to you? Like, how much would you need to be paid to burn a hero? I mean, obviously more than the floor price of crystal. So what does that look like? Tell us, help us solve this problem. We're excited to build solutions that help the community and help this ecosystem grow.
That's a great point. I think, and that might even be a question if we, maybe if we don't get a whole lot of suggestions here, maybe we should put that out on the talk site and see what people say. Because I think it's a great point um, to keep the community involved. This community's got tons of great ideas. I'll tell you what.
They sure do. And Eric's just jumping in here on YouTube. Thanks, Eric's here. Thanks for joining. I think it's Eric's here. We're about ready to close up shop. So, Neindorf, any closing remarks that you have?
I mean, I think, like you said, when we were getting started, I think the biggest thing that you and I were coming to the realization is it feels like, we've been hanging in there forever, and we've kind of, you get worn out a little bit over time. But I would say with these releases and seeing the more and more of the pieces that they've built that we haven't been able to utilize come together into something playable, it feels like the corner is like right in front of us. And once we turn it, I think everyone's going to be really happy that they hung around.
Yeah. And we're coming up on the release of. We are 2 weeks away, 2 weeks and a day away from the release of the next crypto gem. Stay tuned for the amazing creators that we have out there in the space. I was on a pod, well, not on a pod, on a community call with podcasters, and huge credit to the guys like from Mythic Squad and Sergeant and Crypto Grady and Stick's intern, we are coming up with some big brain ideas on how we can organize our podcasts around bringing more content directly to support that. So really excited. I think it was Mosh and Starbuck from the Mythic Squad that were on that call, and I'm so excited. I think this is going to be fantastic. Love that we have all these big brains around like how can we maximize this opportunity that DFK gets, and then like how can we support that ecosystem. So make sure you stay prepared for that. Like community, this is a bat signal. Like this is we're Gordon turning on the bat signal, and we need the entire community to come out in full force to support this. There are going to be eyes on these podcasts that we put out. We're planning on doing like a reaction show, a speculation show, and we are going to be able to hopefully just blow this community out of the water and just make this game something super special. So everything feels really primed in time to make a huge difference. And if I spoke too much, Mythic Squad guys, tell me to shut up, and I'll turn off the mic here. All right, well, that's it for Nine North and Raph. We appreciate everyone tuning in, having fun with us, and speculating recklessly, of course. And we're hoping to get back into the podcast cadence a little more frequently now that we can take our nose off the grindstone a little bit. So thank you for the hiatus. It's allowed us to build this game that you see before you now, and we'd love some more testers out there, so hit us up.
Thank you guys.
Okay.